Okay.
We're rolling.
Hello, guys.
Hello. Good evening.
Same day that we watched Sonic, you can tell by my little keychain that I got.
Yep.
And we just wanted to do a little recap of this last year, 2024, because we watched a bunch of movies, and while there's going to be too many movies for us to do individual reviews of every single one, so we just want to recap the 2024 movies for you guys in just one video. So without further ado, here they are.
Listen. First off, Boy and the Heron.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Studio Ghibli, Miyazaki's most recent film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That one I'm gonna give a give it 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. And the reason is there's a certain standard set by Ghibli, and my experience in that movie was I was confused and I was bored and I was let down.
You were let down, okay.
Yeah, and in fact the climax was so ridiculous that I started laughing, and then I had to physically leave the theater because I couldn't take it seriously. Because there's this point where I'm just gonna say this old man is playing with building blocks like a little 2-year-old, and I started laughing so fucking hard.
It's a metaphor. It's well, actually, okay. On my side, on my side, I will just say, it left me with more questions than answers. But I would say it's a solid 8 in my book.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Moving right along. Mean Girls remake. So that's the musical version of the Mean Girls film.
So what I'm gonna give it is a 7.5, and the reason is because unfortunately it shares the same year as Wicked, another musical. If Wicked for me was a 10 out of 10, if not like maybe a tad bit higher for reasons that we can get into, but Mean Girls for me, it was solid. I'm gonna say it was good, not great, and I just didn't laugh as hard, I think, during that one. It was good though. It was it was solid.
Okay.
So yeah, that was me for that.
Mean Girls, the retro. If you want to watch the film, you go to the original. If you want to watch the musical version, I think you just have to see it live in person. I'm giving Mean Girls a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. All right.
Okay, moving right along. Dune Part 2.
Okay, Dune Part 2. I'm gonna say that was a 6. That was a 6. That was a 6 for me.
A 6. Okay.
And the reason is you can tell it's high budget. You can tell it takes itself really seriously, but
a little too seriously.
At the end of the day, it's just like confusing, unmemorable, and I was cringing sometimes at like how serious Zendaya was being in the movie, and it looked kind of stupid when they had the things in their nose.
Well, I think I
don't know.
I thought Dune 2. Well, I thought it was a lot better than the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I thought the story just had a little bit better pacing. I also watched the first one after I watched the second one, and I noticed there was a lot of improvements that they made.
Okay.
There are still weaknesses in the fight choreography. It just doesn't feel realistic to me. That being said, I really did like the last battle. I would say, you said 7? Or you said 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, I would say it's an 8 in my book.
Okay. Is it 8?
7.9.
7.9. Okay.
Let's say 7.9.
7.9. I think the worms really helped.
I thought, yes, no,
those massive worms.
7.9 because there's certain things that were cool. It was like, oh, okay, I see what the hype is about. Okay, moving right along. Garfield.
So this movie, I was upset in the theater. I remember being upset in the theater because it was too cheesy, and it seemed very shallow and very pandering, and it didn't even feel that authentic to that Garfield comic energy.
Yeah, I was hoping for
So-
something a little more. I don't know. I was thinking it would be a little more witty.
It seemed as far of a departure from the original Garfield as the new SpongeBob is from like the original SpongeBob like first seasons.
Yeah, that being said, I think it. Well, I mean, okay, we can't talk about SpongeBob, but okay, what are you rating Garfield?
Garfield, I'm gonna rate a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. I concur. 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Okay.
Lowest rating so far.
Lowest rate. Okay, Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2. I thought this was a great movie. It's not good, it's great. And it had twists and turns, and I thought it was really fun. Did you want to say something?
I liked it better than the first. I like it better than the first one. I thought it
Yeah, I think so. It's better than the first, even better. And there was
feels more relatable.
Yeah. There was a funny scene with some like the guy she has a crush on from the video game where he just turns into a ball and like rolls around.
Oh.
It was really funny.
Oh yeah.
So I give it that one, honestly, 8.5.
I would say it's an 8. Yeah. Okay. Despicable Me 4.
Despicable Me 4, I think my rating might be different from Issei's because I think Issei is more of a fan of the series. So I'm going to say, from someone who's not as big of a fan of Despicable Me, I can appreciate it. It seems kind of like a standard DreamWorks fare, so I'm just going to give it a 6.
I think it's Illumination. I think they're two separate studios.
Illumination.
Well, I would just say like I think it's funny to me. I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard fan, but I do think it's funny. So 6, 6 is probably as high as I'll get it. Animation, brilliant animation, of course. It's just not that serious. Speaking of serious, Princess Mononoke.
Okay, so this movie is my favorite Ghibli movie of all time. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say the in-theater version was a little bit of a letdown to me. Uh-huh. And the reason is I just didn't feel encompassed. And I don't think, if I can recall, they weren't like playing the soundtrack as loud as I kind of needed it to be. And that being said, because in my mind this is like rating it based on like the ticket, based on like going into the movies, like the experience that I had, I'm gonna have to give it a 5. It's a great movie. Would I watch it again in theaters? No.
I would give it a 10.
A 10.
This was
wow.
I thought this was one of the more substantial movie going experiences we had this year, because it just I just thought it was just amazing seeing it up there. And
it was your first time watching Mononoke
in theaters, because we
Okay.
have the VHS, we have the DVD. So I've just grown up with the film, and seeing it in theaters after so long was a really great treat.
All right.
Moving right along. Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Okay, Deadpool versus Wolverine had a lot of hype around it. And
Especially the popcorn bucket.
The popcorn bucket, just how it had a very summer attitude. Mm-hmm. And it by the way, we're going in chronological order from like the beginning of 2024 to the end. So the Deadpool Wolverine stuff was kind of during the summer.
Summerish, yeah.
So for a summer movie, I felt it was great. It's not good. It was great. Mm-hmm. It had very cheery attitude. I would give this one an 8. Hold on. I would give this I'll give this one an 8.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah, and the reason is because if you took this movie and it was just a standalone thing and you were watching it in like your own house, the score would be lower. But because it was released in the summer, because of the hype around it, and because of the lack of competition from other movies, it kind of took that place of in a fun summer movie as, say, like the Barbie movie the previous year. So the experience that I had was lighter, it was a lighter experience, and I thought it was perfect, especially the soundtrack of whatever song that it was when they grabbed hands.
Oh, the Madonna, or like a
Yeah.
like I did have a nice time. I forgot how violent all of the Wolverine and Deadpool movies are. So it was a little bit of a shock to my system watching it. Multiverse wise, I'm always probably just because of like Rick and Morty and like multiverse stuff and stuff like that. But like multiverse like feels very weird to me. So I don't agree with how they handled it.
Right. It
So
kind of like takes away from the seriousness.
yeah,
Of
and
anything.
and the plot, what they did with the plot.
Yeah.
I mean, Deadpool is a very satirical type film. They're trying to entertain you by making fun of the spectacle, and that is a part of the spectacle too. But it's so I don't think they organized it perfectly.
Yeah,
But
no.
so I would say it's a 7
Okay.
in my book.
All right.
Okay, let's move right along. Okay, and my favorite Ghibli film, The Cat Returns.
Okay. The Cat Returns. That was the first time I watched it, and that movie, despite being like a real big anime fan, I'd avoided that movie for a while because I just seeing the cat with a top hat and my favorite,
Love it or hate it.
my favorite movie from Studio Ghibli is being Mononoke. Like, I just thought, okay, this is gonna be like 90s Ponyo, is what I thought. But
Came out after Spirited Away, so 2000s. Wait, they're both from the 2000s.
I gotta say though that watching it was a great experience. It deserves to be a classic. I was very pleased with the experience watching it. The pacing was pretty good. The story is pretty good, and it did what a Ghibli or Ghibli is it?
Well, I mean, in Japanese, it's a Djibouti.
Studio Ghibli movie should, which is totally transport you to a different realm entirely, and it just nailed that. So
Yeah, it's just so nostalgic for me. Grew up with the soundtrack. We had the CD playing in the car. Then we put it on our iPods when we got iPods, and it's on my smartphone right now. So it's just so much fun to experience, and definitely a 10 in my book. And it isn't too serious of a film either. So it goes by very quickly, and so it's very fun. It's just really delightful.
I'm gonna say I thought it was an 8. It's great. It's not good. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving right along. Alien Romulus.
Alien Romulus was pretty good. It
was okay. Yes, yes.
It was not great in my opinion. It was not extraordinary. It was pretty good.
Very cookie cutter, like cool and like a lot of great effects, but very much like, oh, we are following the formula to a T.
Yeah, they followed the formula. So if you want just a classic alien movie that's raunchy and dark and a little gory, or not a little, is gory, then it does its job. It does not go above and beyond though. So I would just say it's good. It's pretty good. It was a It was a 7. I completely forgot I even watched it this year.
I too pretty much forgot about it, so I would say a 6 or 7. I think 7's fair.
Yeah.
And we're almost done with the list. We swear. Ninja Scroll.
Okay, Ninja Scroll.
They did Ninja Scroll in AMC. Can you believe this?
They fucking did, and there's some essay in that movie.
It's not.
It's an old school anime
It is old
movie,
school anime,
and they don't pull punches. They don't pull punches in that movie.
And I think it's just, no, we both went out of the film being like, oh wow, they really just showed that.
It was a little uncomfortable in there.
Yeah,
we
both were pretty uncomfortable at times. It's
and the ending, I gotta say, the ending is not actually that satisfying.
The ending is
compared to like a modern movie. It's kind of more 90s anime where it's like, okay, to say the least, it hasn't aged well, but it is pretty crazy to think that is all hand drawn. Like they didn't have computer animation, or like they didn't have the computer animation technology to and
aid
you can tell
in and
in a good way.
And the hand drawn, it being like cell animated is just incredible. And so just watching it, it's a visceral experience to say the least.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein that like Terrifier is. Not saying it competes with that level, but
we do have to talk about Terrifier at some. Yeah,
I'm going to give Ninja Scroll in theaters a 6. I mean, it's not a 5. It's good. It's not good, really good. It's just It's. I mean,
I would say 5, 6 as well. A little more, one for the textbook, or one for the go check it out for animation school, but Anyway, moving right along. Beetlejuice.
Okay, so Beetlejuice, it did not, in my book, it didn't have the charm that the first movie had. I'm gonna give it I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
I'll give it a 7.
Okay. I would say like a 6. It kind of felt like an anniversary special.
Yes.
Like it could,
exactly.
how they have those interviews with actors like 40 years after they made the film. It felt like they weren't bringing too much to the table. I mean, Jenna Ortega is a really talented actor, and she really did not get to shine as well as brightly as she could have, like she does in Wednesday.
Honestly, they could have made it way more edgy and like kind of like, because I think the original movie had so many surprises that was like, damn, like that's so twisted, and then this one just felt more like status quo, edgy, and family comedy, but you didn't really get that as edgy of an experience as the first one. So.
And let's move on to Terrifier.
Okay, Terrifier.
Whoa.
So this one.
Terrifier 3.
Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
So this one was a visceral experience. It's the first time I ever saw a movie that was unrated in theaters, and so I kind of had the knowledge going in that there's a reason why this is not rated. Because if they did rate it, it would be above an R. So we watched it. I'm just gonna say this. To me, that it was a blast. It was a visceral bloodbath of torture and gore, and I thought it was hilarious because it does not take itself too seriously. There's some movies out there that are grindhouse and it's serious, right? But this one is this troll clown, and I love trolls, and he's trolling in so many ways, and he's dressing up as Santa and just fucking with everyone. At one point, he throws a bomb at like a kid's display in the mall of Santa or something like that.
It is pretty not for the faint of heart.
No,
you have to. you have to have had an edgy teenager phase.
Exactly.
Like,
if you're
to
edgy,
enjoy it.
if you're edgy in a specific way, it'll be a 10 out of 10. I'm not exactly as edgy to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say an 8. It's not a 9 because I think plot wise it's just doesn't really make sense. Like, it's just this troll like wandering around and just like fucking everybody's lives up. So the plot is a little like,
It was the movie. So the movie was definitely not for me. I've never gone out of a theater thinking I need a drink, but after Terrifier, I was like, I need
right. I mean, it made
I was like,
you
pour me.
really.
It's
Yeah.
like, I need a strong one. I never do this.
He just went straight to the bar.
I was just like, I
got a
need
drink.
to just sort of like just take I really needed like the edge to just taken off, but
It did have an effect on you.
yes.
So it's polarizing.
But I wasn't driving home, so thank you, Jared, for being DD that night. But I mean it wasn't yeah, it was a stiff one, but not but not like no. But I was calm. I was calm after finishing it. Okay.
That said, what out of 10?
That said, out of 10, 4.
4.
I am not that guy anymore. Watching, this is on
It was
YouTube. Like
fucking
what?
ridiculous, guys.
What can we say on YouTube? I mean, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah,
anyone?
it's like that level.
Serbian film.
It's just very silly.
House of a Thousand Corpses. Like
it was
just
fucking
not-
ridiculous.
not-
That's my quote of the movie.
It's just that it isn't for me anymore. Like, all right. Heretic.
Heretic, I didn't really know what to expect going in. I thought it was scarier than it actually turned out to be. It was going to be scarier than it actually turned out to be, and I gotta say it didn't. I'm not gonna really remember the movie. So
Heretic, yeah. Hugh Grant, huge fan of Hugh Grant. He does a great
he was
job.
good,
I think basically up until the point they go down the stairs. People who've watched will know what I'm talking about.
Because then
after it goes down the
building,
stairs, it kind of just it just doesn't really pay off what it's setting up in the first act, like
exactly,
the first 20-30 minutes of it. It just kind of doesn't. It's like it's a pretty interesting setup, and then it's like, oh, it doesn't really.
Yeah, because you're like
half baked.
You're going deeper and deeper into this house, and then once you go down the stairs, it's like that's how
the scares, the reward. It's like less rewarding the further you are into the film. 5.
I'm gonna say 6 because it does have this angle of like questioning religion that I thought was a little original.
Oh, it's an interesting concept. Okay, finally, Wicked Part 1.
Wicked Part 1 is a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
There's a reason why it's still in theaters well into its third month. Because for being a high budget movie with like A-list actors, or not, I'm not gonna say A-list actors, but like high budget actors,
and really talented director John Chu did a great job bringing Wicked to the silver screen.
Yes.
I am a huge fan of the Wicked musical. I've gotten to see it live 3 times throughout my life and listened to the soundtrack many times. And obviously, my love for the musical version isn't going to change. However, the movie version doesn't dishonor the musical is how I'd put it. It is really just fun. Like the casting of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, that definitely had some people talking. I definitely felt worried going into it, thinking like, is it gonna feel right for me? But 5-10 minutes in, everything started to click, and I was like, wow. Like the music really is just so amazing to experience just on a movie screen. So
I think this movie has that it factor to be a classic. When you think of movies like years from now, like playing, they're still on TV. People are still taking time out of their day to watch it. This movie has that kind of energy to where it is worth a rewatch down the line.
Definitely.
A lot. Most of the movies from this year doesn't have that energy and won't be revisited unless you're looking for a specific thing. I think Wicked has the mass appeal. It has the star cast. It has the translation from the original story / play that will keep its energy going and make it they didn't drop the ball.
We're definitely checking out the second part when it comes out. I don't know when that is yet. I don't know if they've announced it, but
it's a 10 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of yes. It is
and it has the it factor to be a classic.
A must see in the theaters.
If you guys seen what I said about or what we said about Nosferatu, I mentioned that movie is great. That was a 10 out of 10 for a theater experience in my book, but it did not have the it factor. Wicked is just the best movie of 2024. I stand by that. And yeah, I don't know how many movies that was, but
it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, about 15 movies.
That was 15 movies.
15 movies or
and
so okay, Jared, top 3. Top 3 of this year.
Wicked's got to be up there. Terrifier for me is up there. And lastly, I want to say it's got to be Inside Out for in third place, Inside Out, because those 3 put me in my feels in different ways. Terrifier's got to be above Inside Out because it put me in my feels in a much stronger, visceral way. Well, how about you?
I would say, okay, I'm going to cheat because I'm going to mention some of the Ghibli ones, but here, okay, so number 1, Wicked. Number 2 is Boy and the Heron because it made me question, it really made me question stuff, and I had to go see it a second time to really try and think about it again. Because first time I saw it in English, the second time I saw it in Japanese, and so I got a taste of both, and I just keep thinking about it. And then third is definitely going to be Princess Mononoke because I was so glad to have seen it in theaters after all this time.
Now you can say you saw it in theaters.
Yes, yeah, and I'm so glad that they're still doing the Ghibli movies in the theaters.
Yeah,
that's a really great thing that they do.
They are, and I'm excited for 2025 because we now live in an era where animation is going crazy. Japanese culture and just weeb culture is going mainstream. It's like
there are a lot of anime movies that we didn't get to see this year that came out,
even from TV shows, even from other animes. It's 2025 is a great era for I think our generation to be in, to be going to the movies. So with that said, that was our 2024 lineup of movies, compressed and condensed for you guys. You know what we think is good, what we think is bad, and maybe you learned a little bit about what kind of movies we look for. So,
and let us know which movies you enjoyed.
Yeah, because there was some that we did not check out. We have our tastes, but I think there's some movies that we probably didn't think that we'd like, but there was some good ones.
Definitely
there was some good horror ones too that I don't know, we probably didn't see. So anyways, thank you guys for watching.
Rightio.
And we'll see you soon with another movie review. Bye.